What's up YouTube? It's Ben, and in this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I manage my money and exactly how you should too. All right, guys, so if you don't know me already, my name is Ben Nader. I make videos on entrepreneurship, business, finance, investing, real estate, software, pretty much everything under the sun related to finance and making money online in business. If you like that kind of stuff, definitely smash that subscribe button. Let's get right into the money management video. All right, so disclaimer, I want to let you guys know this is a video you should absolutely watch until the end, because this is going to have a profound effect on the rest of your life. The way you manage your finances and the way you operate in the financial area in your life determines everything. Your financial freedom, your location freedom, your time freedom, literally everything. Money does not buy happiness, but it absolutely buys you options, and options make you happy. Okay, so there are three main outcomes of how I manage my money that I always want. Number one, I want my money to work for me. Every single dollar that I make, I want that dollar to work then for me, right? That goes through investments and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that in the video. The second thing I want is I want my net worth to increase. Every single time I make a dollar, my net worth increases. Or every single time I make an investment, my net worth increases. I always want my net worth increasing. The third outcome that I want is that I want to create generational wealth. I always want to be creating generational wealth that can literally be passed down to whomever I want when I can no longer use it. So everything I'm about to tell you right now about how to manage your money and how I manage my money is pretty much Dave Ramsey's nightmare, but that's totally fine because it's way better than stuffing a bunch of money in envelopes.
Ray says Dave Ramsey's voice is so obnoxious it makes me ashamed to be Southern. Whoa! Whoa! Regional hate there.
All right, so there are 4 principles that I follow when I manage my money, and I abide by these religiously, and you should as well. Let me go through them all, and you should follow along and ensure that you're taking notes or you're making sure that you're doing all these things. By the way, you don't need to have multiple 7 figures to manage with these rules, right? You can have 10 to 15,000 a month that you're bringing in and still utilize these rules. In fact, it might actually be better for you that you're actually installing these rules, these barriers, these guidelines right now, so that when you are making multiple 7 figures or 8 figures, you're having the guidelines in place already. So everything's all good. You're already there. You already know how to manage your money, and you're doing it correctly from the get-go. So it's a really good habit just to put in place now, early on. All right, so rule number 1. I stay out of bad debt, and I love being in good debt. All right, so everyone's asking, hey Ben, what's the difference between good debt and bad debt? Well, let me explain. All right, so bad debt is like credit card debt, personal loans, payday loans, auto loans, things like that. Basically, that's all bad debt because you took debt on to buy liabilities instead of assets, right? Like real estate, which we'll get into in a second here. But that's all bad debt. So I'm away from that. Like I have no bad debt whatsoever, right? All good debt, right? Which makes me money. I'll explain that next. Good debt is when you take out a loan, let's say on a house, right? And you want to make that house an Airbnb. You want to make that an asset that cash flows to you, right? So let's use a real life example of good debt. Let's say you take a loan out for the down payment and you pay down, right, and put it in and you make it an Airbnb. Now the Airbnb cash flows $10,000 every single month. And your mortgage, when you're watching this video in 2022 right now, is around $4,000 a month. So last time I checked, $10,000 minus $4,000 equals $6,000 in profit. Let's call it $5,000 with some management fees and other things like that. Let's say you bought 10 properties, right? And they all cash flowed $5,000 every single month. That would make you $500,000 every single year. That's what I'm talking about when I say take on good debt, which is buying into things that are assets that cash produce for you. All right, so rule number 2, I always focus on earning more money and not saving money. Look, rich people get more rich because they focus on investing their money into assets that pay them back, right? They get rich because they do this on a multiplier that some people can't even fathom. That's why the rich get more rich and the poor get more poor. We'll talk about that in a second. But the rich get rich because they do exactly what I said in the real estate example prior, where they buy things that pay them cash flow, right? And they pay them cash flow that's higher than the interest they're paying on that good debt, right? So they're actually coming out on top every single time. Now, it's the same thing in the opposite, right? Poor people stay poor because the second that they have money, they spend it instantly, right? They spend it all on liabilities, not assets. Liabilities like toys and just random things that are unnecessary that don't pay you any money. They just spend it on random consumer goods, right? So they have no money left over to invest in the first place. It's a vicious cycle of poverty, and honestly, it's really, really sad that it continues that way. So rich get rich and poor get more poor. That's just how it goes. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably like, well, Ben, I don't have the capital to invest into 10 houses that's going to pay me $500,000 a year so I can be mega rich and be like the rich, right? Hold on. You can still invest if you're at that $10,000 or $15,000 a month mark. You can absolutely still invest. Here's how. One major prime example of an investment that will absolutely pay off, huge for you, is investing in the best asset ever, which is yourself. Learning a new skill, learning something that can make money for you, right? Like learning how to start a business or investing in somebody else's business, right? Taking equity in someone else's business that will eventually pay off, like a startup or something like that. Or partnering with somebody else to invest with them in something where you can pool your money and their money and become partners and slowly get rich together. The bottom line here is that you don't want to put your money in the bank and just let it sit there, right? You want to maintain your hold on that earned income. You worked hard for that money, right? And you want that money to work hard for you. The bank is going to take all that money and just invest it and get 15% on it while you could be utilizing it and investing it and getting even more on it, right? So basically, hold tight with your money. If you're not ready to fully invest yet, hold on to your money for a little bit until the opportunity arises where you can either partner or jump in on an investment by yourself. You want to get to that spot. It's really, really important because the longer you let a ton of your money or all your money just sit in the bank, it's rotting and it's actually losing money to inflation, unfortunately. All right, so rule number 3, I only use money that's generated from assets that I've invested into to buy liabilities, to buy toys, to buy random things, to buy whatever I want to buy, right? I only use that money that's generated from my assets that I've already invested into. Now, to be quite honest and super transparent with you, besides having a pretty expensive high-rise apartment and a brand new Range Rover, I don't have that many liabilities. So I don't fall victim to lifestyle inflation, right? So when a lot of people make a lot of money, they make the mistake of lifestyle inflation, which is effectively when you make a certain amount of money, you match your lifestyle with that money, right? You don't have to do that. You can have lots and lots of money and not match your lifestyle with all the money. So there's plenty of people out there that have $5, $10, $15 million in the bank and they're driving a Toyota Camry. Why? Because they're smart. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need to have fun, because you do, right? You absolutely need to reap the benefits of your investments and utilize the cash flow to actually enjoy your life and buy the things that you want to buy. We only live once, right? So do that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you to just keep it in check. Make sure you're not going overboard. Make sure you're not being over leveraged, right? Make sure you're just not all the way in. If you have $5 million, let's just make sure you're not buying a $5 million house just because you have that amount of money. All right, so rule number 4, focus on one thing to make your money. All right, so I know I did a video on this previously, but I want to steer you all clear away. I literally want to prohibit you from trying the all too famous 7 streams of income. Just don't do it. It's just a myth. It's just a myth. It's not 7 streams of income. It's 7 leaky faucets of pennies. Okay? So you're stepping over dollars for pennies. Okay? You cannot actually create 7 solid streams of income and make real money. When I say real money, I'm talking about above 7 figures, right? And you want to make above 7 figures, right? So don't go for the 7 streams of income because you're really going to spread yourself thin. It's not going to work. It's practically impossible to do that, and just don't try it. Just, it's a waste of time.
Do you understand?
All you need to do is create that one big money maker, right? Then you'll never have to worry about anything else. Innovate that thing, scale it, expand it, make that thing pump out so much money, you won't even think about that 7 streams anymore. You won't even imagine needing 7 streams because everything you'll have will be at your disposal because your main one business will be so solidified that it'll be making you so much money you can't even focus on thinking about 7 streams. All right, so I have a bonus rule for you, and this is bonus rule number 5. If I can't write it off or deduct it, I'm not buying it. Aside from groceries and things like toilet paper, like that are really necessary, I'm not buying it. So if I can't deduct it or if I can't write it off to some degree or whatever, right, on my taxes, I'm not buying it. You got to understand that the rich stay very rich because they understand the tax code very, very well. And I'm not saying go do something weird or illegal or anything like that. Absolutely not. But if I can't write it off or if I can't deduct it, I'm probably not buying it, right? I'm probably going to be doing everything in my power to buy everything related to my business so that I can write it off and deduct it because the tax problem is real. So when you get to making really, really good money, you have to understand tax planning becomes a real thing for you. And I know everyone gets scared of audits and the IRS and all this kind of stuff and whatnot. Look, everyone that's like above $10 million, all the rich people, right? They get audited like every single year. But it's just a checkup, right? They just want to check and make sure they're not doing anything below board or illegal or whatever. Just don't do any of those things, right? And just follow the IRC, the Internal Revenue Code, right? Just make sure you're following it to a T and you will be fine, right? So people get audited all the time, right? It's not a big deal. The IRS is the biggest gang on the planet, but you don't need to fear them if you're following their rules. All right, guys, this video was just fully intended for you to understand how to manage your money, certain things that maybe you didn't think of, certain things that hopefully you'll implement right now, here and today, because they're really, really important for you and your future and generational wealth. And that's what I want for all of you guys. So if you enjoyed this, got value out of it, smash that like button. Also subscribe if not already, and also join Recruiter Empire, our Facebook group. Link right down below the video in the description. Join our Facebook group. We'd love to have you in there. And I will see you guys next time.